Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We started this evening with approval of prior town board minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. First one would be the organizational meeting, January 7th. Anybody have any corrections, comments?
Move approved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The second set would be our regular town board meeting for January 7th. Again, any questions, comments, changes?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the last set would be our January 12th special meeting. We met to interview candidates and review the books. Any comments, questions?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Okay, Mary, we'll move on to the clerk report, please.
Okay, very, very small one this month.
Uh-oh.
I know. Town clerk's report, January 2013. Dog licensing, $53.50. Check for the general fund, $53.50. Paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets, $20. So the total taken in for January, $73.50.
Wow, you're not kidding. That's about the smallest I've ever
I
seen.
had some come in, but just on the 1st of February, so some others.
Anybody want
That'll be next
to make a
month.
motion to approve the pathetic report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah,
Carried.
with your
Thank
fund
you.
balance
Thank
at
you.
all, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Mary. All right, mail review. You got anything came in?
We have a report from the building inspector, John Feaser, his year-end report for 2012. Total number of permits issued were 37, and the breakdown, a single-family house is 1, additions or alterations, 15, accessory structures, which is garage, sheds, pools, 11, roof-mounted solar array, 2, use permits or ZBA referrals, 7, CO municipal searches, 40, remedy orders mailed, 2, on-site verbal remedy orders, 4, FOIL request, 2, written complaints, 5, COs issued, 23.
This is some activity in the building department. Okay,
Good.
thank you.
We received a resolution from the town of Saugerties Town Board. They're amending their local law, their zoning law, sorry. Part 1 of the public hearing that they're holding was on January 23rd, and Part 2 is February 7th at 6 p.m. probably, but yes, 6 p.m. in Saugerties at the Senior Citizen Building, if anyone's interested. And it looks like they're just changing, rezoning one area on the map, the zoning map, is what they're doing.
Just for
And then-
further information, the reason that we get that is because we're adjoining town,
Right.
even though the previous is between us.
Right. And then I've posted on the board, I've posted on our website, the Columbia County Department of Health rabies clinics for 2013. They actually start in March in Ankrum, and Germantown will be April 20th, Saturday. Cats and ferrets 10 to 11, dogs 11 to 12 on Palatine Park Road, Dr. Tucker. Then there's one in Gallatin, Greenport, Ghent, New Lebanon, Clover, and Kinderbuck, all the way through to November. So it's posted on the website, and I believe it's $5 or $10 to get it. Very reasonable to get the rabies-free animal.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's all you have?
That's it.
I have one piece of mail that I received I'd like to just read a little bit of from the New York State Town Clerks Association. Dear Mr. Stats, on behalf of the New York State Town Clerks Association, it is my honor and pleasure to inform you that Mary Helen Shannon, Town Clerk, has been awarded this association certificate as a registered municipal clerk. This prestigious award recognizes the professional competency of Ms. Shannon in fulfilling the responsibilities of her office. Certification is granted only after an applicant has demonstrated that they have met the stringent education and experience requirements established by New York State Town Clerks Association. Goes on a couple more paragraphs. The last sentence: congratulations to the town of Clermont having your town clerk, Mary Helen Shannon, achieve this prestigious designation of RMC, which I'm not sure what stands for. You must know.
Registered Municipal Clerk.
Registered Municipal Clerk. So congratulations. And
Thank you.
I'm very happy to read that.
Very good. Thanks. I got that done quick.
You did?
Recertification.
Okay. That's all I have. Correspondence to the web committee. Does anybody have anything for the web committee? Any suggestions, comments, changes? Anything you want to update? Is there any update on?
I don't think there's anything to update on the web that I know of.
All right, excellent. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports and updates.
I'm doing a lot of research and trying to find something for our town park. Other than that, I don't know whether we discussed whether we need money for anything else. I think we came to the conclusion that we're pretty much in good shape here, buildings and grounds. And so the only thing I can think of that we really would like a grant for, in my opinion, is just the town park, unless you guys have any other ideas that you'd be looking for. As far as grants go, does anybody, these are bad times, I mean, you got matching grants or, you know, a matching grant means we have to kick in money with it, and I don't know if we want to really, you know, how does everybody feel about that?
Well, I tell you, I mean, some of them obviously have different, some of them were 25, 50%,
Right.
60%, I mean, 70%, depending on what the actual contribution is and what we're going for, I would say we could certainly consider it.
Yeah.
One thing that did come to mind is maybe we can, I don't know where we could look up, but if we can maybe find some kind of help for the historical academy, we do have to fix the siding on the back of that this year. So I don't know where we could look to see if we could get some help on that, if they would kick in some money to help us offset that cost. But, and it has to be painted, which I don't think the paper painting, but the actual woodwork they may possibly help us out with. Other than that, you're right, the park was the only other thing at this point I think we could look at. But,
So pretty much a siding repair.
I'll forward on, I think I received a document, something to do with historical grants, and maybe I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it.
Sure.
Okay.
And matching grants, matching funds, grants doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna put in extra money, because we do have some money in the budget
Yeah, we do.
to spend anyway.
Right.
So if you can get a grant and match it with money that we were planning on
Right.
spending,
Right.
then we're ready.
Did we budget for the siding?
I think
Yes.
we did.
So we did have something in there. So if we could get a grant to match that.
But yeah, anything up to, I think we ended up with $10,000.
You think something
To
like
repair
that?
it, and paint it back, so I mean, that's something we need to do. If we find somebody to help match, certainly we put 5 and 5.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, well, we'll look at that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Bob?
Yeah, one thing I have, as the board knows, Bruce Hudson resigned from the zoning board, and I'd like to just take the opportunity to publicly thank him for many, many years of service on the zoning board. He was there for a lot of years, he was deputy chairman for a good number of those years as well, and also was on the town board at one time in the past. Still involved with the fire department, still currently the treasurer for the fire company, involved mostly in fire police lately, but he's given a lot of service to the town, and so at this point, as he's resigned from the zoning board, we'd like to, publicly thank him for his involvement. And at the same time as we're thanking him, I'd like to also offer on behalf of the board the condolences to Bruce and to the whole Hudson family in the passing of his mother, Helen. Helen was 97 years old, a longtime resident in Clermont. As I remember one discussion, I think she moved here from Hudson as a young bride in around 1939. And lived in the town since, had a farm here, and lived to the age of 97. Scripture says that a lifetime is 70 years, 80 for those who are strong. So 97 is pretty good.
Very nice. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to go over that? Yes, sir.
That's,
Okay, thank you. Evan, you have anything,
Nothing to report.
an update? And Nancy?
Nothing.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Moving on to old business, we brought this up last month. We had solicited proposals for an outside audit to audit the bookkeeping services for this past year. We did get 3 proposals in. We weren't ready to do anything with these proposals because we didn't have time to review them and adequately compare them, read through and compare them. Since then, Nancy has taken a look at all of these, and she's read through them and compared them. And I think, just if you want to say a few words on what you found.
Yeah, I found that basically going through line by line, they were all proposing the same services because there was a difference in pricing, and I was concerned that one was going to do more than the other. And after going through them, I did find that each one was covering exactly the same areas and couldn't find any differences in what they planned to provide. And I just wondered maybe if the differences could be from them thinking of bigger towns or something of that sort, but I didn't see anything missing that I wanted to see in any of them.
Okay. Well, the 3 bids we received, the first bid was, well, not first, but out of the 3 bids, the lowest bid was Raymond G. Pruser, CPA, Certified Public Accountant. His bid came in $4,000. The second bid was from Sickler, Torsia, Allen, and Churchill. That had a range bid from $7,500 to $9,000. And the last bid was from Patterson, Koski, Howe, and Bucci, and that was $9,000. So, not recognizing any difference in services and seeing the house, the lowest bidder seems to be adequate, no reason to disqualify it.
I only saw one difference, I will say, I forgot to mention that. One is that one of them said that they would send out all the confirms, and the other 2 said we would send out the confirms. They provide the letters and we would mail them out.
The
So,
lower bidder did not provide that.
we would provide
We would
the
provide
confirms,
the confirms.
which is sending out maybe half a dozen letters.
Okay, to each bank account, that has to go to each bank account to verify the amounts and have them sent back. I am certainly, along with Mary, well, Mary will probably do most of it, but I'm certainly willing to do that to save any additional costs.
Right.
And again, we budgeted $5,000, not knowing what this would cost. I'm very happy to accept the lowest bidder at this point, not seeing any reason not to disqualify her and take care of the confirms so we can save.
there was something mentioned in there about, based on expected cooperation from the board, which shouldn't be a problem, right?
No, most of this work will have to be, again, like an audit, will be, Mary will have to provide a lot of the information. She has the, obviously, the records officer, so she will have to work with the auditor along with the bookkeeper as well.
Yeah.
So at this point, if there's no other comment, questions, I would just assume we pass this resolution to get these guys started so we can get an audit on the bookkeeping service 2012 and award it to Raymond G. Pruser, CPA, PC.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Just an update, the dump truck, the 550 dump truck that we talked about last month, the engine was blown. We authorized a repair to Joe's Repair for Joe's Auto for $15,000. That truck has been fixed, completed, and returned to us. It's in service. They've used it for the last plowing they had. Everything seems to be fine, and the bill, which we approved, was $15,000. The final bill when it came in was $14,891.12. So actually sent the bill back for a little bit less than what we budgeted and what we approved. So it's very nice of Joe's Auto to give us the lesser cost here, even though we approved $15,000. So I'm very happy that he took care of that, and the truck is back in service. I want to mention that and thank him. Data collection, I'm just going to skip down and hit that one after we go through these in order. New business, we have a bunch of resolutions, actually, I didn't list them all to go through. We approved this past year, and we put money in the budget for a data collection and a reevaluation of the town again. Something we have to do every 4 years to stay in the actual state program, to stay in the assessment, to stay at 100% for our assessment. This is the year 2014, 2014 is the year we have to be up to 100% again. So this year, 2013 is the year that we have to do the data collection. We did meet on the 12th with an individual that we had do the data collection before. We talked about, interviewed her, talked about what we'd like to see this year done differently and some additional work. And we decided that she would be sufficient, and we all agreed to, the value to have somebody that already did this once, do it again, knowing where the parcels are, knowing the layout of the town is just immeasurable. I mean, it certainly is, it's an asset to have somebody that has already done it once to do it again. So we have a resolution here to award the job and a fixed amount, but the first resolution I have to deal with is to actually enter into the reassessment program, which we have to do legally to be part of this program again. So first resolution I have is resolution number 36. Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Clermont authorizes the town's participation in 2014 reassessment and reassessment aid program administered by New York State Office of Real Property Services. This program is designated to ensure equity, and maintenance of 100% equalization rate. Continued compliance with this guideline will result in continuation of awards from the New York State Office of Real Property Service. So again, this is just to enter into the program. Need a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 37, whereas the town board of the town of Clermont, in an effort to relieve the tax burden of the residents of the town of Clermont, made a motion on February 4th, 2013 to enter into a contract between the town, Cheryl Kasluga, to perform data collection and property evaluation on appraisal reviews of taxable parcels located within the town of Clermont. Whereas under the contract, the data collection is to be completed by October 1st, 2013 at the agreed upon rate of $20 per parcel.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, to keep these in order, I'm going to go right down. The next one is the lease for the Canaan Fellowship. Every year we renew the lease for the use of the building. Resolution 38, be it resolved, Town Board of Clermont agrees to enter into a lease with Canaan Fellowship for the use of the Clermont Community House for the period of January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013, according to the terms and conditions as set forth in the attached. Again, we haven't changed anything. The lease amount is $4,000 paid quarterly, $1,000 per quarter.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 39, be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Clermont agrees to enter into an agreement with Pine Plains Veterinary Associates PC for the period of January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013 to act as kennels for the Town of Clermont, County of Columbia, State of New York, as set forth in the attached. Again, this is to renew the contract that we have to have in place to board animals with Pine Plains.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Give it to him.
Resolution 40, this is something we discussed, I think, last year, year before, when Desiree came forth wanting to use, Round Top Animal Hospital. We also have a resolution so she can use either or. This is what this is. Resolution number 40, be it resolved that the Town Board, Town of Clermont agrees to enter into an agreement with Round Top Animal Hospital for the period of January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013 to act as kennels for the Town of Clermont, County of Columbia, State of New York, as set forth in the attached.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, now let's hit the, now we're back on track here. Resolution, budget amendment, resolution number 41. This is the money, this is the resolution to move the money from transfer capital to the machinery fund to pay for the truck repairs. Resolution number 41, 2013, to move to the machinery contractual expenditures, DA 5130.4, $15,000 from transfer to capital DA 9950.9, $15,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I didn't update this number, the less than $100. That will go into machinery fund. It's a $100 difference. If it's not spent, it will end up back into his fund anyway, so. I better keep we gotta sign these. These are all have to be signed. Okay. Fourth quarter sales tax. Just want to quickly go over the financials. We finally received our fourth quarter sales tax check last week. It came in at $78,913.36. That is the final payment we were waiting for to close out the books for 2012. And I'm very happy to report that the revenues from sales tax and mortgage tax have picked up over the past year. They were over the budgeted amount that we budgeted, so it was extra revenue for us. And when all said and done by the close eye on the budget and the actual expenditures that we scrutinized this year, we actually did not take anything out of our fund balance. We profited $1,900. I'm going to get the exact number here. $1,954.57 went into our fund balance. That's about as close as you can get to coming into where you want to be. Obviously, we budgeted money to come out of this fund balance because we thought we were going to be short. Revenues were higher. We held the line on expenditures, so we actually made out very well. I'm very happy and pleased with that. The highway, this is the first time in years that revenues were high enough to help offset what we planned on spending out of fund balance. So if the revenues continue, even at a flat rate where they are, we will be in good shape. We can actually almost self-support ourselves without having to use money every year out of the bank. And that's very important because we did start to diminish our fund balance over the past 3 years by using it to make up the offset in revenues. The highway account actually had an excess of $19,950. A lot of that contributes to a very mild winter last year. We had a lot of supplies that they didn't need to purchase, sand, salt, a lot of overtime they didn't use, and they also benefited from the extra revenues, the higher revenues than anticipated. So that, in combination, made them $19,950 more than what we had expected to spend. So that's great news. I'm very thrilled with this. All we can ask for is that the income revenues stay flat. I'm happy to have that, and we certainly will be in good shape going forward. We couldn't continue, obviously, the way we've been. The revenue's down so low, we've been taking money out of the fund balance. Our fund balance numbers, just to give everybody an idea, at the end of last year, December 31st, 2012, general fund balance, $281,261. And the highway is $163,554. So those numbers are an increase. Like I said, that includes the increase. Now this year's budget that we approved, the 2013 budget, we do have money budgeted to come out of the fund balance again, $57,000 from the general, so that would come out of the 281, and $26,000 out of the highway. All we can do is hope for another mild winter. Hope the anticipated revenues, stay high, and we can offset those costs and possibly not have to take it out again, which would be my goal. If we could break even, that's great. This obviously is close to even is what we're aiming for. So again, I'm very happy with these numbers and reports. So moving forward, we'll look for the anticipated sales tax numbers that actually what really supports the town. Policy updates. After reviewing our policies, we met on the 12th to go over all our policies, and we reviewed all of them. We had 2 of them in particular we had a couple of questions on. We had some changes we were going to make. The first one, let's do the Board of Ethics policy, Code of Ethics policy. We noticed when reviewing this policy again, I think it, I forget who brought it up or where it came up. Number 7 on the last page, which nobody has in front of them, it says establishment membership. There is hereby established a Board of Ethics consisting of 3 members to be appointed by the town board who shall serve without compensation at the pleasure of the town board. The majority of such members shall be persons other than officers or employees of the town of Clermont, New York, but shall include 1 member who is elected or appointed officer or employee of the town of Clermont. After reviewing this, noticing we did not have an appointed member or elected official on this board, we have decided to make a change to this to get us in compliance with New York State regulation. So the easiest way I could think of is to add a 4th member to this board and add an elected or appointed official. I mean, I think that's the simplest way. You don't have to have an odd number, although sometimes it's beneficial, but I believe the counties only has a 6-member board. And believe me, if we come to a 2-2 tie on the ethics board, we're going to be in court anyway. So I think I have no problem adding the wording to say that it will consist of 4 members, and then we'll have to appoint a 4th member, which we already have a volunteer. I think somebody that was thrown under the bus to be the volunteer. But so I'd like to amend this policy to say that we will consisting of 4 members, and then we'll have to make the appointment. So that would be a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now I'd like to have Bob make the motion to appoint the 4th member.
I move that we appoint Mary Shannon.
He did it.
Second. He's the one that threw me under.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Who
Carried.
seconded? Nancy.
And I'd like to thank Mary for doing this. We needed somebody on this board that's an official, so she's agreed,
And
I think
we're
agreed
gonna
to do
have any
this.
problems, so.
Okay, the other policy we had questions on, what we reviewed and decided taking a look at was the workplace violence policy. This is something we had many discussions on, or discussed several times. Last month we discussed this, and we did make a couple small changes. And I'd just like to, Nancy, if you would just briefly describe what happened and what we did and
Well,
changed.
basically, we adopted a policy after we all discussed it. I honestly don't know if I could walk you back line by line through the changes. It'd be simpler if I just read some of it, some of the policy. Here, Bob marked them out. He was very, very good. Okay. In one paragraph, we took out as defined below, and we eliminated the entire definition of dangerous weapons that got specific about what was a dangerous weapon. And our policy now just states dangerous weapons, the possession of firearms or dangerous weapons while on town property, rather than listing and then not limiting to, because that seemed rather counterproductive. Then we eliminated the sentence, any other employee of the town of Clermont must provide proof of a valid weapons permit and have written approval of the town of Clermont Town Board. That has been eliminated. So then we just approved that as that stands without those 2 sentences. The dangerous weapons, including but not limited to offensive weapons, pistol, revolver, other firearms, dagger, razor, stiletto, switchblade, knife, or knife having a blade exceeding 5 inches. That's the part that's gone. And that is all we changed. And we voted on that and approved it.
Okay.
Thank you for marking that.
Actually, I think we
We agreed to
We
bring it
agreed
to
on
the
it.
board.
We didn't approve it yet. We agreed on it.
So it is, this is something we looked at several times. We talked about it. We know it's a sensitive subject on both sides. And, this is the simplest way we could come up with to meet everybody's interest, I believe. I feel more comfortable with what we removed. And I think we all agree that that's a better way to state it, what we have here. And we agreed to bring it forward and to adopt this amended resolution, or excuse me, amended policy as is. So, Would anybody like to make a motion on this amended policy?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On the heels of that, I would just like to bring up that we are in compliance with the workplace violence training because our highway guys completed the training course in the town of Germantown, as a matter of fact. I'd like to thank Supervisor Brown. He is actually certified to teach the workplace violence course. And I have the documentation here from our 3 employees that they attended, and we have the checklist and the actual paperwork to say they completed it. So we are in actually compliance at this point with the violence program, workplace violence program and training aspect. So I'd like to thank again Supervisor Brown and the guys for going up there and taking the time to get certified. Until next year, you gotta do this every year. So, all right.
I don't have to go through getting the new policy there.
No, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to do that. So, all right, last thing on the new business I had was, we had an emergency repair on the highway garage. We had a problem with the water pipes leaking. It was under the sink. Jimmy noticed it, a small leak there. It's been leaking for a while, but I guess it was getting worse. So we went to turn the valve off underneath to try to fix it. And when we turned the valve off, the valve wouldn't work. The pipes were leaking, so we went over, because our water comes from the community house to the highway garage to the town hall. So he went over there to shut the valve off. We're there, the valve wouldn't work either. So at that point he called me. He's like, "What do you want me to do?" We had to turn the pump off to stop the water leak. I says, "Well," I says, "Call a plumber." I said, "That's not something you really should be doing." So he called in Harkins, which is the guy that did the bathrooms for us at a reasonable cost. I says, use him. I'm not going to sit here and try to get prices on this. He brought him in. He fixed the piping out there. He changed a bunch of pipes. He put valves in, and he put new valves in over at the community house. So it's all been repaired, and that's what that bill is for $670, which is parts and labor included. I did see quite a bit of copper piping he replaced in the garage. I think it's a fair price, and he's been very fair for us before, so I had no problems with that. I just wanted to bring it up that it was an unexpected repair that we didn't know about. And it was handled. Jimmy called me Thursday, and he had, Harkins was here Friday, had fixed it, so I want to thank them for a timely response as well. So it's always nice to be able to get somebody here as quick as possible with something like that, because we had no water in any of the buildings at that point. Well, we had it in the community house, but it couldn't come over here, so. Okay, last thing I didn't put on the agenda, because I just got this today, as a matter of fact. We put out I was soliciting bids. I was trying to get people to bid on the bookkeeping services. We said we're going to put a bid out for all the services this year. I did contact a couple different firms for a price on bookkeeping, and I distributed this to all the board members. Just some correspondence back and forth with the only person I actually did get a bid from, which is Karp, Ackerman, Skabowski, and Hogan, certified public accountants. And they used to do the book work here, I believe, Mary, years ago.
Oh, yes.
I also asked for a bid from Sickler Churchill, one of the ones that bid on the auditing. They said they weren't willing to bid on the town services. They didn't give me a specific reason, but they weren't interested. And this is the only firm that I've actually got a quote from. And just to skip ahead, there's a copy on the 4th page. What I did is, just to back up, I gave them a copy of what our current bookkeeper is doing for us. The list of services, remember that's 10 list of services that he provided. I actually scanned that and emailed that to this company and says, listen, this is what we have provided. Could you please price it accordingly to, apples for apples, and if you have any suggestions or way to save money, let us know. We'll certainly consider that, but I'd like to price it so we know what we're looking at. And that's what this explains. This letter explains that she did price everything that he was including, and their price from Karp, Ackerman, and Skabowski was estimated to be between $12,000 and $13,000 annually. And the only other thing that was in here is that they do not deliver the checks, which is not a huge deal, but right now we are having the check delivered to us. So I would have to go up there and get them from the office and bring them back. So currently we're paying $9,300 for our bookkeeper, and this is quite a bit more. Again, I'm going to continue to look for another bid. I'd like to get somebody else to bid on this. But again, I've been refused by one company, and this one's coming higher, so I will get one more bid if I can get somebody to look at this, and we'll continue to look at it. But as of right now, I'm not willing to make a change, just pay an extra $3,000 or $4,000 a year.
You think maybe they wouldn't bid because they know how much we're paying and?
Well, it's public record, obviously, what we pay for our bookkeeper, and, you know, if the company looked at it and didn't want to waste the time putting a bid together, it's possible, I don't know. But they just said they weren't interested at this point, so, and I know they do work on municipalities, so I don't know what the reason is. But I'll get another one, I'll try to get another one, but at least, you know, I have something to verify that we are paying a reasonable price, and I would like to keep, the services with a CPA. I mean, that to me is a reassurance that, you know, somebody has the criteria and expertise and education to do what needs to be done as far as the bookkeeping. I know, you know, it's mentioned before, you know, it's possible we could get somebody in town or somebody else that might do the books. To me, I feel better having a certified accountant do the bookwork. So, I mean, I would really look to solicit another CPA firm to give us a bid, rather than somebody that lives, you know, locally. It just gives me more reassurance that we're getting professional service. Okay, that's it. I'd like to go through supervisor report. Let's see, what can I tell you about the county? That's just our bridge. Our bridge has been resurrected. The conversation about reopening the bridge in Bingham's Mill.
Really?
With a little help from town of Livingston, I'd like to thank Supervisor McDonald. He was, at his board meeting, he was pushed by a resolution by his board to come to the town, or the county, and request that the bridge be opened as well. So he came up to the Public Works meeting, and it certainly helps to have both towns affected, both supervisors complaining, and the letter from the Traffic Safety Board was a big help. So we both got together, we presented this to the Public Works Committee last month, and had a discussion about how we feel it's a necessity to open this bridge up. And the committee has agreed to have the commissioner put the numbers together again, bring it back into the meeting this coming month for us to take a look at. Again, the money is not budgeted, but there is money in the budget which could be used. That may be a fight, but you know, it's not done. You know, so it is still on the table. And that certainly helped to have him get on board with this. So, you know, it's looking more positive than it did before that happened. So I'll keep everybody updated. But we still are pushing for that bridge to be reopened. The courthouse is underway. Obviously, everybody's heard about the courthouse. There was an issue that was in the paper, and I gotta comment on this because I just don't agree with the article that was run saying, I think the biggest part is that the courthouse is over budget, or I forget what the headline was, but it had to do with the electrical contract bidding. We had 4 different general contracts released. One was electrical, one was HVAC, the general contractor, and I forget what the other was, but the electrical bid was put out for pricing. Came back, we hired a company to do it, and Morris Associates, which is our engineer, was the one who handled the electrical bid as well as the HVAC and other bids, but he was the one who did the bid package. And the problem we ran into was the bid came back for an 800 amp service, which was approved, everybody approved and signed off on, even the architect. And when they got into the building and found out that there actually was a draw over 800 amps, I think it was like closer to 1,000 amps, they had to increase the amp service to the building to 1,200 amps. So that basically had to rework all the numbers on the materials because, you know, 800 service is not a 1,200 service. The wiring's different, the panels are different. So it was a lot more to consider. So what they did is they reran the numbers, came back with a difference of, I believe, $56,000 to upgrade to a 1,200 amp service. Now this was brought up to the committee because some of the supervisors were very upset that this was missed or overlooked, and that they thought that the contractor should actually pay for the upgrade or pay for the extra additional money. And just knowing the work that Ray does, Morris Associates, saves us a ton of money, does good work for us here. I had to step in on this because I don't understand. This work was not a redo. It was not a waste of county tax dollars. It's not something they put in, had to tear out and redo. This was caught before anything was done. So this additional cost would have been borne at the original bid, or it's borne now. What is the difference? You know, in my eyes, there's no difference. It didn't cost us another dollar. So I don't see where that's necessary. I mean, if they told us it was $700,000 6 months ago, or if it was $750,000, it doesn't matter. We still would have had to pay for this. It would have been a cost of the project. So I personally don't think that this is something that Morris Associates should be held responsible for. And I don't understand the thinking of that. If it was money that we wasted and had to respend, I would say absolutely, but there was no additional cost. So that being said, moving forward, they want to, I just lost my complete train of thought. That's sad. I'm too young for that.
Yes, you are.
You want some coffee?
I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, I guess the moral of the story is I really don't think, the project in whole is going to be, and right now is on track, and if anything, is going to be under budget even with that additional cost. So that's another plus. I mean, you know, they have contingencies built in every part of this, and they have approximately $700,000 in contingencies in the actual project. So it certainly can be absorbed in the contingency, and even the architect at that meeting said that they felt that this was going to come in under budget or on budget or under budget even with this change.
Really?
Which is a great thing. I mean,
That's
we're shooting
not
for on
usual.
budget. What's not budget, that's not usual, but the architect is a very good architect, we're
In fact,
happy.
it is usual with Morris Associates, because we came in under budget on the town garage when that was built, or added on to.
And the actual the actual architect is very good at watching and controlling costs. So to me, I mean, especially if we come in on budget, under budget, this is a moot point. I mean, it's a great thing. This project has to get done. And I just think, you know, moving forward, if we can hold that line and come in on budget, that's great. So again, I don't see some of the other supervisors in that article they put in the paper was very negative, and it didn't say anything about the budget, and you know, we're in good shape and we're on budget. It was just very negative, and it just, I didn't like it, and I just wanted to put that out there because we know what kind of work the Morris Associates does for us, and with the project we had, it's just not, it didn't seem like it was a fair article. Pine Haven, I really have nothing to update on other than that the project is still, we're soliciting architects to give us a design, you know, a price on design build for that. There's nothing new to update on that. Pine Haven, that's what it said, there's nothing there. Board of Elections came in this past month for an increase, they had to have more money. Moved over to their line item because $135,000 over budget. And that was mainly because of the primaries last year. And they had five elections, and it was because of the extra primaries they didn't account for. Two of them, basically. They accounted for 3 elections. They had the 2 extra ones that they didn't account for, ran $135,000 over budget. So all these primaries and all this extra voting, it costs everybody money. It's coming out of our pocket, obviously. So nothing we can do about it, but I just figured I'd throw that out there, that it's $135,000 for 2 extra ones. County Attorney's Office, something I've been complaining about for the past 2 years, and it doesn't, it's coming. Every year, the county processes foreclosures. Usually it takes, you have to wait 3 years to process a foreclosure. If you don't pay your tax 3 years, the county enters into a foreclosure process on your property. 2 years ago, one of the attorneys left the office that was handling the real estate transactions. A new one was hired, and we have not had a property foreclosure list or sale since then. And the problem with this is there's people that haven't paid their taxes since 2008 that continue not to pay their taxes, and we're not doing anything about it. This is money that the county's missing out on because it's foreclosure money. I mean, if you're not paying the taxes, it has to be foreclosed on, resold, put back on a property tax, sold to somebody else. I mean, what we do is property sales every year. People buy these places, A lot of them are abandoned, some of them are vacant lots that people just stop paying taxes on. It's not fair to anybody to not have these recirculated and to let this go, because the county is missing out on all this money. And it's revenue to the county to actually get these properties back on the tax roll. So I don't know what the problem is in the county attorney's office. I wish the paper was here tonight, because I've had this discussion many times, but I keep encouraging them to process the 2008s, now the 2009s, and they should be working on 2010s. I mean, just, 5 years without paying your taxes is long enough. So I'm going to continue to fight on this, because this is ridiculous. It should have been handled 2 years ago, and I just don't know where the ball's been dropped. But I brought this up to the chairman of the board last year, and nothing's been done. And I'm going to continue to complain about this, because I feel that this is important, and I'd like to see them get on the ball with this. And I just want to let everybody know a quick update. This past week, last Thursday, as a matter of fact, they had a huge seminar up in East Greenbush that I attended for the school fiscal crisis, I guess they called it. It was quite a meeting, I got to tell you. I went up there, I think they had, 13, 14, 1,500 people attended this meeting. It was well attended, very good speaker, had a lot of good ideas. He was going over all the problems with the school funding systems. Most of it, all of it, falls on the state, where they've reduced the funding to the schools year after year after year. And then this year they give an increase, and obviously you can look at it and say, yeah, it was an increase over last year, but it's just a decrease of the decrease is what it comes down to. I mean, they've decreased it so much, and then they say, we're gonna give you a little more. They're still not funding the schools adequately, and it's causing problems that are compounding. Obviously, year after year, the school districts just cannot keep up with the lack of funding from the state, and the 2% cap, with the raises and the unions. You could just, inflation, you just can look at it and say there's no way that the schools can sustain themselves. The guy was a very good speaker and had a lot of good ideas. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any vote on this matter, but there was several representatives there, Senate and Assembly members, and I hope that they paid attention, because the information he went over was very moving. I mean, I was very impressed with the presentation. I don't have any solutions, and neither did he. He had a lot of ideas, but he can't vote on it or put them in motion. So hopefully the representatives that were there will take it back to their colleagues and work on it. I think that's about it. Again, I just want to thank Supervisor Brown for helping us out with training the guys. He also trained Livingston's guys as well. So Germantown, Livingston, and Clermont have all been provided the workplace violence training. So that was nice of them. Other than that, that's about all I have to update everybody on. Motion to abstracts.
We pay trust and agency, abstract number 1, claim number 1 for Morris Associates, and the amount of $389.25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to pay highway abstract number 2, claims number 2 through 17, in a total of $21,903.04.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to pay general abstract, claims number 17 through 42, for a total of $6,808.78.
Second. My record up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, move on to public comments, communications. Mind step up to the podium, please. Oh, this isn't fun, is it?
I'm speaking to you as your town historian.
Oh, all right.
I had a call, or I had an email a couple of weeks ago from a high school student who was doing a project. He was emailing all of the town historians in the whole county. And he was doing a project to identify all war memorials in the county that are not cemeteries. And the only one that I could think of in this town was the community house, which is referred to sometimes as Memorial Hall. And I tried to find out some information about it and went finally to Betty Hart, who was kind enough to give me the information that her mother had had, and it turns out that the community house was, or I guess it was called Clermont Academy then, was dedicated in 1949 as Memorial Hall, and it was at that point that they put those bronze plaques on the front with the open book and the names of World War I veterans and World War II veterans. And I think it was at the same time that they put upstairs the lists on the wall with a list for each war. And the last war, and it begins with the Revolutionary War. It's quite extraordinary. And Clermont had more individuals who fought in the Revolutionary War and World War II, I think, than any of the other wars. And the last war that is commemorated is the Korean War. And Ray Kelsey's name is there, among others.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. And it occurred to me that it would be a good thing to do to try, those are just cardboard plaques with calligraphy, or they're not even really calligraphed. They're just lists in pen of the names of the individuals who served. So it wouldn't be very expensive, I don't think, to do a plaque for all the wars and conflicts since the Vietnam War. So would you be interested in having me work on that? Do you think I should try to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that would be very nice to do.
I don't think it would cost very much. And Mary told me that the way to go about it would be to go to, you said in the county
Columbia
there's...
County Veterans Service Agency
Yeah.
might be a place to start.
I could start there,
Take
see
it
how far I
directly.
get, and then I could come back and let you know what I found out and how fruitful that was. Maybe the veterans of foreign wars also, possibly. All right, well, I just wanted to let you know that. I did send the email back to the young man, and he was doing, I guess, some sort of a map, a county map with all of these designated on the map, a GPS map, I think. So I hope he gets it out and makes it available. But anyway, he inspired me to think about this, and I'll see what I can do.
That would be great.
Diane, you said you didn't think it was going to be very costly, but obviously that implies that there is some cost. So are you going to come back to us
Oh,
and let
yes.
us know what?
Oh, yes. I'll keep you updated. I definitely will. And I'll let you know. I have no idea where you
You don't need a motion with a budget today. Certainly.
No.
No, okay. That was the point I was getting.
No. I think it might even be something we could get a student or someone like that to do. I don't know. But I'm not far enough along yet to have a sense of how large a project it might be. So as soon as I know, I'll come back to you and let you know.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, how about doing some fundraisers to, once you get your prices in? I'm sure the community would love to participate in something like
I think that would be
that.
good.
Yeah.
I think, and I have to give Dick Jones credit for this because he talked about this many times and we never really went very far or went anywhere with it. But it was doing the research and trying to figure out the history of when Memorial Hall became Memorial Hall that made me realize, hey, we haven't kept up with this. You know?
One of the things that we had talked about some in the past also is if we ever get the remediation done over in the area of the property that we own, is up on the hill behind the cemetery, putting some kind of a memorial.
Yeah.
That would be a time that we certainly would want to try and do a fundraising
Mhm.
and to support that. Because that would certainly be more costly,
True.
but it would also be more visible to people. I mean, I'm not sure how many people here even realize that all those plaques are up in the second floor. It's 'cause people
Well,
don't
that's
go
one of the
there.
reasons I came tonight, because when I talked to various people about this and asked questions, it was interesting that hardly anyone even knew that this is called Memorial Hall. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna go and talk to the public about it and the board. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I just have a question. What kind of scope or region are you looking at,
Clermont.
just for the Clermont?
Yeah,
and the
these are
residents
all
of
just
Clermont?
Clermont veterans. So for World War II, there are maybe, well, I have.
But they're documented, and up through Vietnam is documented in Claremont,
Oh, I don't have the list.
and you're anticipating going forward from that Vietnam era that's documented,
Right,
the Iraqi freedom, Afghanistan,
right.
up to including current people, that sort of thing?
Well, it's an that's
I just
an
don't,
interesting
we were trying to
question.
do the same project. I'm Bill Meyer. I don't come to very many meetings, actually. It's my first, but trying to get a little bit involved here. And I'm part of the Red Hook VFW as an honor guard member. We try to start sort of the same thing of going forward, and the question always comes up, where do you cut that off, and who do you include? Lifelong residents or veterans that signed up when they were in Clermont but no longer are here, or they served when they weren't residents, moved in there. Like myself,
Yeah,
for
those are
example, a
interesting
30-year
questions.
veteran.
Yeah,
Now my son's a veteran, he's in the service, that sort of thing. It becomes a little sketchy sometimes on the parameters when you do that sort of thing, who's included, who isn't included.
it used to be simpler, when people lived for all their lives. in
Right,
one
it
place.
was, and it's a
Well,
very
also
daunting
specifically
task,
when
I'm
we
gonna
were
tell
talking
you.
about specific wars that were
That had a
big.
beginning and a middle and an end.
Yeah.
I would like to talk to you. What is your name again?
I'm Bill Meyer.
Okay,
Live on
thanks, Bill.
Vineyard Court.
Yeah, let's get together. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, any other questions, comments? Tara?
I just wonder the status of the contaminated lands on the other side of town. Have you heard anything about it? There's some development that's going to be happening there. I was wondering if the board knows about it, what's going on.
Well, the only thing that we're aware of is obviously the permit that was applied for the storage units. I mean, putting surface down and putting storage units on the northern parcel there.
On contaminated land.
That's been cleared by the DEC for the buildings.
Well, actually, that latest fill, I don't see a permit that was issued for the latest fill. A permit is needed for fill, and I don't see a permit. So it looks like there's another violation on that. There's two of them. One that has the original dump in it, and now with this latest one. And it looks like this permit, it's, if I'm right, it looks like he wants to put self-storage units in there,
Yes.
but we don't have that classification. The self-storage unit is like a mini warehouse. It's, because the storage unit is a storage unit, and a self-warehouse is one of those rental things, which we don't have that classification in this town.
I think we did, because I applied for a permit that's still right up here in Route 9. Do you remember, Bob? Didn't we go over that a number of years ago?
Self-storage?
Yep.
There's no self-storage in the town.
There isn't any. I never built them. My apartment buildings there instead.
We don't have that.
We went around with the board.
It looks like a variance needs to be given out for that.
I'd have to check on that for you. I don't have the answer for that for you right now, but I certainly will look into that. I mean, I'll look at it.
And the permit, for the, that fill that was brought in.
They recently brought Phil in?
Yeah, that we actually don't know what's even there. We heard that it's not toxic, but we've heard of oil, gasoline, slush, sewer.
Well, the latest letter we had, which I actually believe I read at one of the meetings, the DEC sent us saying that parcel has been cleared. There's no further, they're not further, any further involvement on their end. It's been cleared for construction, so.
And he never got a permit to do that.
I know he came in and got a permit from John for the actual building, the actual.
I'm talking to Phil, you know, you need a
I'll
fill.
have to check that. I didn't.
There's no permit on the fill, so that, actually, that is in violation.
I'll have to check and see what happened on that. Again, like I said, I don't have the answer on that for you, but I'll certainly look into it.
Okay,
And I'll find out. All right.
okay.
I'll let you know as soon as I get an answer. Thank
If I
you.
could interrupt for 1 second. There was another self-storage unit project approved by the planning board maybe 10 years ago or something, down just south of the old Welcome Inn, right on the corner. They built a house there, but it was originally approved for storage.
Okay. All right.
But a self-storage is different from a mini warehouse.
Well, I know that self-storage is what's going in there. That's what he's putting in over there.
Right, that he's actually gonna rent out to people. Mini warehouse, what it's called, that classification is different from storage.
She's asking if you'd like to
Storage
contact
unit.
down, that's hers.
Okay. I'll get some more detail on that. I'll let you know because I don't know the specifics.
And actually, Ray, on the other property, on the 3 acre, which is now 5.7, the classification on that property is not either warehouse or self-storage either. So I have no idea why BT construction is even there. Can you look into that?
I'll have to find out. I'll talk to
On that
John and
property.
find out I'll have to talk to him and see what he says.
But that's actually a gas station. That's the qualification of that property there.
I don't know what agreements were made. I'll have to look and see what
The
that.
existing building you're talking about?
Yeah, well, it's 5.7 now with the line change.
I'll look into it. I'll let you know. Okay. Any other questions, comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So we'll
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Issue a campaign.